Hello, everyone, and welcome to Analytical Fanboys. I am your host, the Modular King of the Content Ring, the Vacuuminator, and I am joined, as always, by the transcredible Boingo Rider.
Watching this movie made me realize I'm our group's Pirate Steve.
Oh no!
I don't know, Chris. I like pirates.
I mean,
Oh.
oh Jesus, that's the sickest burn of the year from the toy man of Modular Media, Snowcone83, who is here. Hello.
I am here.
Yeah. Holy crap, you guys. This is going to be an interesting episode because very interesting episode of AEW this week. I honestly don't know what my vibe is going to be yet because it's been a crazy week. And our main topic is a very interesting film from the early 2000s that I'd never seen before. But before we can get into that, I need to remind all of you that this podcast is brought to you by Modular Media, the online creator co-op run by the three of us that is in service of advancing online creativity and creating a better community for doing such things. If you want to keep up with us, the best way to do that is by hitting that subscribe button and enabling notifications so you get every episode of Analytical Fanboys and every other bit of content we put out as we put it out. But if you want to help us continue to grow, you can also do that by hitting like and leaving a comment, helping us out in that YouTube algorithm. You can also follow us on social media. We have a Twitter at the Modular Media and a subreddit r/modular media. And if you enjoy this show so much that you want to listen to it when you're on the go, but you don't have the money for YouTube Premium, go ahead and go down to that video description and click the link to our Google Drive folder that has MP3s of every podcast we've ever done in it. I highly encourage you to do that. It's a great alternative to using the YouTube app, especially because we just this week decided to start putting some money into that because we were running up on the storage space limit. But that's not all that's going on with all of us. We also have the Modular Summit, which is fast approaching. As of this recording, 3 weeks away. And I won't lie, I'm starting to feel the stress a little because these guys, all they got to do is just drive up and be there. It's at my fucking house. I have to make sure everything's in proper working order and make sure all the shit I need for my lecture gets here on time and so on and so it goes. But it's going to be a great time. I guarantee you guys are going to enjoy at least one piece of content that comes out of this because we are planning on doing so much. There's going to be nightly streams. We announced last week that we're going to be doing a series of university-style lectures on topics that interest each of us. And we've got a ton of other little side projects planned throughout the week.
Give a hint at one of the things that I came up with and that I think we're doing.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about announcing or teasing anything tonight, but if you want to do that, go right ahead, Boingo.
Well, I mean, what better thing to do than a quiz show?
Oh!
A short quiz show. It's not super. It's not going to be a Quizlemania. It's going to be short. It's not going to be
no.
It'll be 3 questions, and if you get them wrong, shot dead in the chest. Done.
Yeah,
Back
that's
to 2
it.
people,
Yeah.
no matter what.
This is our new initiation ritual. Actually, we're going to be doing it to snow cones. So
You gotta
I hope
see-
he's doing his research.
So you put
I'll
one
be bringing
bullet.
my own gun, so you better shoot faster.
But no, it's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it a lot. Just so much to do and so little time. But one of the things we got to do right now is this podcast. So let's go ahead and get on to our main topic, which is Dodgeball, a true underdog story, a Vince Vaughn film from 2004 that I was only kind of barely aware of before we hit it on the list. Chris, this is something you put on there. So explain yourself, sir.
Is a comedy film that I think a lot of people, my and Cody's age group, watch growing up that we probably shouldn't have. That just really defines, like, this and Ricky Bobby, I think, really defined comedy references for our age group.
Yeah.
The fuck is Ricky Bobby?
The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Oh, I know that. I know that title. I don't think I've seen it.
And then Ballad of Ricky Bobby may be more prominent in our community because it's a fucking redneck ass community and it's fucking NASCAR. But
I mean, the most redneck thing I know is sorry, we're already diving into the conversation. The most red thing I know is the blue collar comedy group.
Stone Cold Steve Austin too.
But that's true.
No, Ricky Bobby's Will Ferrell movie. He plays a NASCAR driver, but he's stupid.
Should probably put still.
Oh yeah, no.
No, man. I mean, fuck. We were just watching this movie. I was just constantly reminded. I was like, man, there is still shit I say with like my friends playing video games regular today that like reference, and I'm like, fuck, that came from this. So because Ben Stiller just like is constantly dropping like shit that sounds like listening to an old album that I haven't heard in years. And I don't know, like it's still funny. I was super I'm sure I think maybe last week me and Bungo might have mentioned that like we had an inside joke with one of our high school teachers. Just referencing Pirate Steve, Alan Tudyk, whatever. Because he's in everything and he's always perfect. But from that moment on, every time we would see anything, he'd be like, "Is that Pirate Steve?" So like that's where this comes from. Plays Pirates.
I mean, this movie, I'd say my general impression of it is like I did not understand how popular and how well known this movie is until I saw it, because I went into work the next day and my boss was talking about like, oh, they're airing the World Cornhole Championships on ESPN today, and I was like, what, is it on the Ocho? And he's like, yeah, it is.
No, yeah, like, the Ocho is real shit.
Yeah, dude, they did it because of this movie.
Oh.
Like, there's so many, like, let's see if that pans out, Cotton. That's a classic meme that people use all the time. I've been quoting it repeatedly since we decided that the list went like, hey, you're fucking talking about this bullshit. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. That is just quintessential comedy for me.
That was great, honestly. Like, I fucking love Rip Torn. He's a legitimate crazy man, but he's really good in this movie, even though he's playing like the most racist, homophobic character I've seen in a while.
And see, that's the other thing. Because that was one of the things I wrote down in my notes that's a bit too obvious. But I still wanted to mention it, is like anything we look at that's going to be from like not necessarily the late 80s, but like early 90s to like early 2000s, it's going to feel a little different because of how fast everything that is acceptable and okay to say has changed.
Yeah, half the jokes in this movie would not play now.
No,
it's not too bad, but it's shit that like I grew up saying and knowing and hearing. Mm-hmm. So like hearing him call I forget what the actor's name was, but when he called him queerbait, I was like, man, I haven't heard a motherfucker call somebody queerbait in like 18.
Justin Long's character.
Yeah, Justin Long.
I mean, that's all just stuff that like was super prevalent around then, and because of that, like for the most part, it's been beaten out of us now. But it's still something that a lot of people can fall back on. I mean, I'll admit it. I'm guilty of saying, "Oh, that's gay" every once in a while, just without thinking about it. And whenever it happens, I'm immediately like, "Oh, God damn it! Why did I do that?" And the answer is, I grew up in the early 2000s.
And like, I'd say that there's a lot more jokes that hold up than don't.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah,
just because like Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller, classic comedy. Anyway,
I mean, and the rest of the cast is solid too. Like, let's not shit on them. Like, everybody is fucking pulling 110% to fucking give this movie what it needs.
Yeah, and it's a solid story too, start to finish.
Oh no, this is a very good script. I'll say that. Like, there's some great setup and payoff in it.
And like, here's the thing: there's a lot of like homoerotic jokes, but it never feels like it's making fun of gay people. It's making fun of straight people who don't realize how homoerotic things they're doing are.
I mean, perfect example of that, and the thing I just said of setup and payoff. Right at the start of the movie, there's a scene where Vince Vaughn's character is talking to one of the guys, and he's like, well, don't worry, there's a perfect someone out there for everybody. And for some people, there's two perfect someones.
Yeah.
I call that hitting the jackpot. That sets up the bet, and the fact that the main girl is bisexual in the end.
Seemingly poly as well.
Yeah.
Also, we got the was it the TNA girls or whatever? The shit that we had from the Halloween showdown, like literally,
That's
like
the thing I was gonna say. This movie reminded me so much of '90s WCW.
That's kind of the point. Like, it's meant to be that, like, this is weird, bombastic sports. Of course, it's going to be like, and they even made references to other weird sports, like the fact that one of the teams dress in sumo gear. One of the teams is lumberjacks. And what's the quintessential weird sport that everybody knows? It's the wood games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the actual name of it. It's like they have saws and they have to.
oh, okay, yeah, no,
You've seen it.
yes,
Lumberjack competitions.
Yeah.
And I mean, these days that's kind of been replaced by the fact that there's fireman competitions, but that shit's still out there.
I don't know, man. Like I've been seeing a lot of videos of like the actual fucking
Oh, really?
because like because they'll cut the ropes. They have to do it with like one swing or like the least amount of swings, and then they got to use like their own axes. I think it's pretty interesting to watch them like fucking rip through.
One that's always fascinating on that is they have like a giant log that's standing up and they have to cut in like two sections and put in like a ladder thing and stand on the top and cut off the top of the log.
Can we also
Like-
just acknowledge what a sorry.
And then go.
Can we acknowledge what a fantastic parody the whole shit that Ben Stiller has going on? What a fantastic parody of like gym bro and vapid workout culture is. Because like you and I, Chris, are super familiar with that because we're wrestling fans and some of the wrestlers we like have workout channels. And like I could not help but watch this and at times just think of some of those videos and be like, yeah, this is all kind of like a shameless trying to get money within the vague veil of trying to help people get more healthy.
Yeah. And it's also like his whole character is a takedown of machismo because like when the main female character walks into his office, he starts pumping his goddamn codpiece.
Yeah. Which they set that up so well because there's a scene earlier when he's just walking through the gym and I noticed like, wow, that's a hella big cod piece there. And then they make it better in that scene by showing him air pumping it. And I was like, oh, I did not realize that's what he was doing. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's all like this was also kind of like around the time where like some of these gyms started like happening like that, like Anytime Fitness, Planet Fitness, some of these like mega gyms that in like other cities will have like 3 stories and like everything you could think of. In my town, like we literally have a Planet Fitness, which is like brand new. We have Bailey's Gym, which was and then we have USA Fitness, which is like pretty much like average Joe's. It's like old grimy. Everything looks like it's been dropped 500,000 times.
And what's crazy is what happens at the end of this movie is kind of what's happened to gyms today, thanks to the political shift on like body acceptance stuff happening. Is like every gym that was a Globo gym is now pretending it's an average Joe's.
Yeah, which is probably for the better, honestly. Like I don't know, we were talking about that literally not super.
I mean, the whole again, we were talking about this before recording, but the whole atmosphere that gyms of any kind engender is why I work out at home. It's not like, oh, I'm so good I don't need a gym or a personal trainer. It's just, no, I'd rather not deal with any of that politicking bullshit of, oh, you've got to be perfect or you're fine just the way you are, but you could lose a few extra pounds if you wanted to. Like, just let me do my shit, okay?
Yeah, in my experience, like, because whenever I started with some of that stuff, and you're always afraid of like getting fucking looked at or whatever, and then I realized like at least in like the gyms that I've tried out, like nobody really fucking cares. Nobody gives a and like the second somebody starts to care, it's immediate. You realize just like, oh wait, that's not a regular human being. That's some sort of fucking imposter, crazy.
That person's sus.
Yeah, most people
Yeah,
fucking off trying to do a shit. Like if
there's
you're
no,
paying attention to someone else, you're not actually like at the gym shit yourself.
Yeah, there's no Ben Stiller up on a jumbotron in the middle of the gym telling you to do another set and stay away from that hot dog while he himself in his fucking office is masturbating with a slice of pizza.
Yeah, it's just genuinely, it's hilarious to kind of see, especially with like the after credit scene.
How do we feel about just I don't know, like the aesthetics of the gym apart from like, or not the gyms, but the team. Because like I really like how they do a lot of the like costume design for them. But I did always think that the Purple Cobras, their outfits were neat because they're meant to be like they're almost like fuck, what's that? What's the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where
Demolition
he's
Man.
is it Yes, Demolition. Yeah, the Split. Yeah, that's the movie.
I mean, Laser, Blazer, and Taser are going to be our names when we drop a rap album one day.
No, it's Blaze, Laser, Blazer. You know my personal assistant, Michelle.
Oh man, I lost it whenever it's the scene where like he approaches the lady's house and then like Vince Vaughn pretty much like after he gets his ass kicked by the lady and then like Michelle rolls up on the fucking Vespa.
I did not call that. That was so good. And then they go in her house, and she's just got unicorn shit everywhere.
Oh, and
it's
not mentioned ever again. Like,
but like it's foreshadowing for the bisexual reveal.
How?
Rainbows.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's tenuous. I'd say it's tenuous, but yeah.
And also, unicorn.
Unicorn.
Unicorn is a term for a third person in a bisexual relationship in some cases.
Not the proper term. A unicorn is like people who are looking for that, and like it's a more negative.
Oh.
Like
see, I'm only vaguely familiar with it.
Yeah, no, essentially, from what I can remember, it's like what a unicorn is considered is when like you have like say like a dude who's trying to like liven up their relationship and experiment, but what they really are is just like they're approved cheating, and so they're looking for someone who's just finding themselves, and that's the unicorn. They're just beginning to find themselves and who they are, and they're
taking advantage
that relationship.
Okay, yeah. strike what I just said. Then
yeah, like
get it out of ignorance. It's fine.
Nah, there's all kinds of weird shit in that, you know.
But also, like on that bisexual note, it is kind of a very dude bro joke of like, oh, she's bi, oh, she's a lesbian, oh wait, no, she's bi and she's kissing a dude. But like, they at least play it a little bit better because Vince Vaughn's like, oh, okay, I guess you were right, she is a lesbian, and he was like perfectly, he wasn't sad about it, he was just like accepting. It was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 5-second scene, but I'm reading way too much into it.
Well,
but then you get that like oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say any of the times where they make mention of that is gonna seem distasteful now because it kind of sort of is. Especially like, but I've never been a fan of like throwing dyke around, even when I was like it was always like. Whether it be young ignorance, it was told to me as an insult. It was like, this is an insult. That's what you say to insult.
I mean, maybe I'm just super sheltered, but I did not hear that term until I was like 19.
Oh, no.
I've heard it before.
Maybe. Yeah. Like, especially like, my mom she was a softball player, muscle. So like, I guess that's like, she was, because she hated.
Oh, wow.
Hot take. Little insider information for y'all. Anyone watching.
I'm inside baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah, Patrick has like a running joke involving your mom, so.
You guys are friends with Patrick Starr?
Pretty much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how do we feel about the celebrity cameos in this? Are they gratuitous or fun?
They're fun. They're fine and they're fun. I especially love the Lance Armstrong one.
Oh, that hits so different now than it probably did when it came out.
Yeah.
And I loved it for that.
I mean, it's a joke that like worked one way perfectly when it came out because it's like, oh yeah, no, I had my testicles removed and like all this kind of like inspirational stuff, but I can see a good reason why. And then now it just seems like totally hypocritical and it's great.
Some things age like fine wine in the wrong way.
And then my favorite one is the Hasselhoff one. Because you don't see it coming. They set it up like, oh, these guys are just really big David Hasselhoff fans. And then they lose, and he's the coach, and he's chewing them out. It's so good.
There's so many little bits like that. Like, William Shatner is just like the chancellor of Dodgeball. It's just a weird thing, and I just think it's funny.
Yeah, this is from that wonderful period in film where William Shatner would just show up to do bit parts that are basically just him being William Shatner.
The Chuck Norris scene may be one of the most memeable or one of the most memed things from this movie.
Yeah, because this was like right when that meme was starting to take off, wasn't it?
No, I mean like him holding his thumbs up. Like every time you see that, it's from this.
No,
Yeah,
but I
I
mean,
see
like
it a lot.
him being a meme was just sort of starting to get big when this movie happened.
I think the startings
Kinda.
of it, because I think it started really hitting a peak in like 2006, 2007.
Hmm.
It was still cool. What do we think of the commentator?
Fucking great.
They are literally a wrestling commentary team from like WWE in the mid 2000s, and I love it because it's just one of them is a complete idiot and one of them is trying to actually do his job.
But it's just like because it's Jason, what's his
Jason
name?
Bateman,
Jason Bateman as like the
from
young.
the hit film How Do I Know If I'm Really in Love?
Oh yeah, I mean he's also in several other things.
But he and Justine Bateman and the guy from Cheers, they were all in How Do I Know If I'm Really in Love?
Why the fuck are you bringing up this esoteric knowledge?
Because that's the main thing I know them from, and I think that's hilarious.
But him being like this surfer, like snowboardy dude is fucking hilarious.
Oh, he constantly looks like he's dressed for. He's far more drugged out than it.
He looks like he has no idea where he is, but he's just going along with it.
But I mean, come on, it's some of the best lines in the movie though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bold strategy. Let's see how that works out, Cotton.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, I see that so many times when people just come up with a plan and it's just so dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I could imagine these clips coming up a lot in Channel Awesome videos.
But like, it's a thing. We need to mention it real quick. All the dick jokes.
Yeah, this is a movie that's trying to make fun of macho-ness by also being macho as hell.
I mean, the bad guy team is literally called the Purple Cobras.
Mm-hmm. And they do their little dance when they come out, which is adorable. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do wish they would have stayed in the BDS. I love the like. Oh, so you must be daddy. Like, always appreciate. I appreciate
really
that.
didn't know how to feel about that gag when it happened. I was like, is this derogatory? I don't understand because I wasn't conscious of the culture at this time.
Nah, man, he's just he's the daddy though.
He's a
has
respected
seniority.
elder.
I just mean them wearing BDSM gear in general.
Oh no.
I mean, it's
I
just
don't think
an accident. I think it's just more of a gag of like we're in a shitty situation, shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
I love the scene where like they're getting like the BDSM people are like pulling out the uniforms, and it's the guy in the Gimp mask who's like, well, "This is fucking bullshit." Like, but the thing I love more than that is that like they stay in the crowd and stay there for them in support the whole time,
Yeah.
and then join like the cheerleading crowd that show up in support.
Oh,
they
can
never
we talk
leave.
about the fucking cheerleading subplot? Because that was like the
Oh.
most 2000s thing ever.
The his mishap at the beginning, that one was
That was cringe city because like
The
that
sound
sort of
effect.
opinion on overweight women. Oh god, that's practically extinct now.
Yeah.
And then just like the whole thing of like she happens to be there and the dickhead jock happens to break all the bones. The dickhead jock who is a cheerleader happens to break all the bones in his body, and so he has to sub in, which allows him to get a peek up her skirt while he's tossing her, which is played like a big deal, and then she comes and supports him at the end. And then during that end scene, that's the ad for Average Joe's, if you pay attention in that last shot, she's fucking pregnant.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah. That's like I was just like quickly, because that shot only lasts like 10 seconds or whatever, but I was like glancing at all of them during it, and I noticed that and I was like, oh, that's a very 2000s joke that I don't know if it's like it's meant to be derogatory or it's like meant to be fucking live in fantasy for boys that age watching this movie. Like, what?
It just feels like it's a plot line they were going like, oh no, this is funny at the time, and it just does it. Some of it still works. Like they foreshadow the dude falling off the roller coaster and breaking all of his bones, and it's hilarious because it's like, oh man, dude, just imagine breaking all his bones, falling off a roller coaster, and it's like, come on, what? It's never gonna happen.
Yeah,
And then it does happen, and he's like, oh shit.
In the same way they foreshadow the patches, because you're like,
That
well, must be the luck of the Irish, and then like you see the luck, like the guy working on the luck of the Irish sign.
Yeah. There's so much just like like amazing setup and payoff in this movie.
And there's so many these are these are comedy characters. They're meant just to be there to tell jokes, but like they have interesting elements of it. Like the dude with glasses, who's a little sad, a little pathetic, but he's trying his best. He seems like a nice enough guy.
And he's got a mail order bride who hates him, but somehow they have 2 kids who also hate him.
No, they're from a previous marriage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
So that's probably why the mail order bride hates him then. Like he's at this gym all the time, and she's like, I don't want to take care of these brats.
Yeah,
but it also like that frustration fuels him being a good athlete.
Oh my God, he's the Hulk.
And we've talked about him briefly. Pirate Steve.
Pirate Steve is the best fucking guy. This movie does not deserve him. He needs a goddamn spinoff. Somebody start a change.org petition to get Alan Tudyk to reprise the role, damn it.
I thought there was a...
Is there? Dude, you're going to change my life if that's a thing.
Dodgeball Thunderdome.
That doesn't count. That's a sequel.
There's an Urban Dictionary for Steve the Pirate.
What's
I'm sure there's a lot of Urban Dictionary entrances for this.
No, like, I don't know why they decided, hey, let's just have a dude dressed up like a pirate. For no good.
There's just weird people like that in life sometimes. You always have that one friend who's really committed to the thing he's into. Like how, no, I'm not going to say that.
But like, no, it's because for most of the movie, it's like, oh, it's this pretty straightforward parody of like sports movies, of the underdog story. And then you just have Pirate Steve there going like, yo, I'm a dude dressed as a pirate. And that's the joke. It's such a great little like constant gag that you can do.
How do we feel about the little love subplot?
Pathetic dude and muscly lady?
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice that they didn't say, like, it is meant to be like, haha, look at the freaks getting together. But it seems more of like, hey, look at these people who might have never met. They're a little weird, but they like each other anyway. It doesn't it doesn't feel completely mean-spirited in that regard.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this was... Sorry, go ahead, Snowcone.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, and he's not like fucking shitty either. Like, he shoots his shot, you know. He's not like meekish or anything. He's a little like brain dead in some scenes. I love the the guy trying to explain to him. He's like, the guy who dresses up like a pirate, Pirate Steve the pirate, and he's like, well, there's a guy named Steve the pirate. What? Like,
he shows up completely unpirated and he goes like, oh hey, Steve the pirate.
That's so good.
No, the best one of his lines was, hey, shoot my shot here. What if we pay it in Canadian dollars so we can save some money? And then they explain the math to him, and he goes like, how are we gonna raise $120,000?
No, you don't add them together. It's like, that's the kind of math shit that I run into. That's really funny in a relatable kind of way.
and honestly, like, I don't even know if this is the movie that made love Alan Tudyk, but it's impossible not to. And everything that he's in is just perfect. He's the best thing about Rogue One. He's arguably one of the best things about the Doom Patrol. And he's a lot of my favorite robots, strangely.
I mean, I like him in those two things you mentioned, but do you guys want to know something kind of embarrassing about me? The first thing I ever saw him in was Transformers 3.
Ooh.
Yeah, where he's playing like the crazy bodyguard for Agent Simmons.
I don't even remember. I forced myself. So
he is, to his credit, he is like the best thing in that movie. Because in my opinion, that's the worst of the Bay films. Like, that is a miserable fucking film to sit through. It just feels like it doesn't even want to be on your screen. But he's just like saying the most hilarious random shit in that.
Alan Tudyk is just fucking great in this. He's great in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a lot of things. I'm on his IMDb page right now. Like, God, I didn't even...
Also, great fun fact, when he's like moping and walking around the street about to decide to not be a pirate anymore, and he gets yelled at by that one guy, I waited in the credits just to like see who all was who, because some of the actors I recognized and some of them I didn't. Do you know what that guy who yelled at him is credited as? Obnoxious Las Vegas homophobe.
Nice.
Imagine putting that on your resume.
I man.
I'm looking at the wiki quote page just to like see some fucking great funny lines, and it's just like it looks like Peter LaFleur has actually blindfolded himself. Yeah, he will not be able to see very well, Cotton.
Yeah, like
Like great little bits like that. They must masturbate a lot, Cotton.
about the
Pepper needs new
lumberjacks.
shorts.
That's great.
It's cool.
You had me at blood and semen. It's a solid and it's not like a comedy movie that tries to like aim for the moon. It's a comedy movie that knows what it's going to do. It's a dumb sports story being a dumb sports story.
Mm-hmm. It's a very Comedy Central kind of movie in that it's just like, here is a premise that's a very thin frame for us to throw gags around and let these actors have some fun.
I think this was like always on heavy rotation on Comedy Central for like years.
That's interesting. I mean, I've got the only thing I've ever watched on Comedy Central is The Daily Show, so I was never like big into that channel.
Oh man, I guess that'd be like another difference because like I grew up loving South Park. Anything else Comedy Central had to offer, the Chappelle Show, fucking a lot of the Chappelle Show.
I mean, that's shit I want to get into if I ever have time, but like when I had the time and I was younger, I also had parents that were like so conservative they put parental controls on the TV that didn't let me watch Drake and fucking Josh.
Yeah, that's weird. Especially like I come from a house where it's very much like, all right, do you think you can handle it? All right, fucking watch it. Don't fucking cry. Don't come crying to me. Like I watched.
I mean, we
Smoochie
eventually.
when I was like 10.
Yeah, that's definitely ideal when you're raising kids, in my opinion. But like I already described how my parents were when I was little. But like I got them to that place after years and years of chipping away at their resolve.
I mean, I've kind of also watched. Like for the longest time, I wasn't allowed to watch this, but like my mom also wasn't.
That's Cartoon Network. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I put the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie on here because Aqua Teen Hunger Force will always like hands down be like one of my favorite comedies, if not like my thing to watch.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force is another thing from the 2000s that it's like I only kind of know what that is, like this movie.
No,
If we're talking about like Adult Swim comedies, for me it was never Aqua Teen Hunger Force. For me it was always Metalocalypse.
Metalocalypse is perfect, but like
Metalocalypse is fantastic.
Aqua Teen always like just got me.
I was put off by some of the voices, I think.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, you know how much like I quoted even in high school, just constantly quoting.
Your go-to Halloween costume if you don't have something is just to be Carl.
Yeah. Oh man.
Like that's it. It's just Carl, because all you need is to fucking let your hair out for a week or two and get some sweats.
Don't matter. None of this matters.
I mean, he does have one of the best fucking gags in all of television comedy.
Yeah. But enough about that.
I mean, is there really too much left to say about this movie?
Here's the thing.
The
It is such a
very good.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, it's a good composite of licensed music. But I think like this Ricky Bobby, we've already talked about like those being defining like go to you want to seem funny, just quote this movies. And it feels weird because Dodgeball is such like a big thing that it's not like big thing in like how I talk to people, but it's not one of my favorite movies. Like it's not even one of my favorite comedies. Like I think I Love You Man is higher up in my opinion.
Honestly, if I had to guess from an outsider's point of view, I think in another couple of years, this movie is going to be considered by our generation in the same kind of way that like Wayne's World and Bill and Ted is considered by people who are like 10 years older than us.
Yeah, that's fair.
Really solid like B+ movies that are like a good little nostalgia bump.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Austin Powers is probably going to do it a little bit better.
Now, see, Austin Powers I have seen.
Which one?
All of them.
Okay.
I watched them. The first time I saw them, it was on a fucking ABC Family marathon of them one weekend. I think that was like, I want to say that was 8 years ago.
You're just in Alan Tudyk mode.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he was in Wreck-It Ralph. He's done a good number of Disney stuff.
Oh, he's like just always Green Arrow and everything.
I mean, he
That's
looks
awesome.
He looks like a good Green Arrow.
Dude, why the fuck does Stephen Amell exist when we could have Alan Tudyk as live-action Green Arrow? I say that knowing full well that Stephen Amell could beat me up if he wanted to. Please do not beat me up, Stephen Amell. I think you've had a fairly adequate career.
I mean, he's regularly on Robot Chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, he's Joker in Harley Quinn.
He's also
His match at All In was solid.
Dr. Trap, Condiment King. But yeah, no, I think like I like this movie. I mean, I like it a shit ton. It's good and solid. There's plenty of comedies because like I'm always somebody who like I will almost say that I don't like comedy. I like will not actively go to a comedy movie unless I hear it's actually good.
Well, that's because most comedy movies now are terrible.
Not even now. Like even back in the day, like I would just not like comedy movies.
Oh, okay.
Shit like The Bench. There were movies that I liked that were comedies, but it was never like this is my favorite thing. Because like a lot of times I wouldn't laugh, and like this is a movie that can still make me laugh, and like I laugh for different reasons nowadays. It's like it's still nice. So I always appreciate that. However, Austin Powers fucking
hell yeah. But guys, we are 45 minutes in now. So do we have anything else to say on I almost said Dodgeball. On Dodgeball. Or do we want to wrap up and find out what we're talking about? Actually, not next week. I completely forgot to talk about this during the opening, but we're going to be taking a break next week because next week our recording night will fall on Halloween, and I think all of us want to do other shit. Plus, we kind of need to take a recording break that 1 week in the next couple weeks in order to be able to hit a certain milestone at the summit. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So you guys will hear this episode on the 30th, but we will not be recording an episode the following night like we normally would, which means there will be no episode on November 6th. The next episode will be recorded on November 7th and will come out on the 13th, the night before the summit starts.
I think the only thing we really...
the fuck out of me.
Yeah. I think the only thing I want to mention is the fact that the original ending for the movie had the average Joes losing.
Really?
Yep.
That's interesting.
It did not test well with audiences, so they went and made the new ending.
I can imagine so. But next week? Or the next episode?
Next episode!
Next time on Analytical Fanboys, the boys will discuss, if it'll load, She Could Fly, which is an indie comic that yours truly put on the list.
All right, well, I guess we're going to have to figure out a fucking way to read that.
I can find it on Read Comics for you guys. It's not going to be that hard because that's how I read it originally. But yeah, that's what we'll be talking about next time. I don't want to spoil it too much, but basically it does take place in a fairly grounded, realistic world, but a superhero of sorts appears, and our main character is someone who becomes obsessed with that person and sort of gets involved in a government conspiracy surrounding them, and then shit gets weird. It's like 6 issues.
All right, yeah, that's fine.
Actually, I'm pulling it up now. Oh, it's 4 issues. So you could read this in literally one sitting. And I will link it right now. But that'll be next time on AF. But for now, Cody, why don't you go take your piss break? And Chris, let's talk about some wrestling.
Oh boy, what should we talk about fucking first? Because like there's lot.
they put the Jags cheerleaders to work this week, bro.
Oh yeah. But first I think we should talk okay, so first things first. Number 1 contendership tournament has started. We got all first 4 elimination matches.
And we got pretty much
we got the first 3.5.
We got pretty much
barely a match.
Listen, we got pretty much the results I was expecting, but all the matches went differently than I was expecting, which is to say the one I thought would take the longest went the shortest, and the one I thought would go the shortest went the longest.
I mean, fuck, dude. So I'd say let's talk about the impactful one last, and I think we can agree which one that one is. So Hangman versus, who was it?
Colt Cabana.
It was fun. It was good. They played off each other pretty well.
It was a solid match. I would not say there was anything super special about it, except that it ended with Dark Order actually helping Colt Cabana to the back.
Yeah. It definitely feels like they're trying to portray it as Brody Lee is kind of the toxic element in the group.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a fun match. But it also was playing in the fact that like Hangman was trying to get off the buckshot and Colt Cabana was trying to get off the boom elbow.
Yeah.
And it was solidly booked and solidly psychological. Good match to show that hey, Hangman can fucking hang.
So, hot take: Jungle Boy and Wardlow was kind of boring.
I can get that, but like I dug it because it's fine. It was also just to show like, hey, here's the big bad tough boy that Hangman has to beat.
I mean, also, I was going into it expecting it to be a David and Goliath story that would lead into Jungle Boy and Hangman having a big, I respect you, now let's beat each other to fuck up next week. And instead it was just, look how strong Wardlow is!
And also, we got to remember, that's another plate they're spinning of eventually breaking Wardlow off of MJF.
Uh-huh. And I mean, that's probably gonna happen at some point soon if they do actually go the MJF joins the Inner Circle direction. Because they're either gonna do that or it's gonna be big marquee tag match of MJF and Wardlow versus Jericho and Jake Hager.
Yeah. But then we have the Mexican boys jumping jamboree of Rey Fenix versus Penta El Zero M.
That match fucking stole the show, dude.
Great.
I was legitimately blown away. Like this match took me from, yeah, I like the Lucha Bros. They're pretty quick. They're pretty cool. I don't know if I need their AEW figures though to where the fuck is a pre-order for the fucking 2-pack? I need it now.
Like, because they also played it into it really well. The commentary team did a fucking excellent job of going like, these guys are brothers. They know each other this well. They've done this before. Dear God, what's going to happen now?
All the while, Eddie Kingston is just off to the side shouting, there's Penta! He's my friend! I love Penta! Look at Penta! Oh, Phoenix is getting up, bro!
And that's playing into the fact that they probably want to turn Phoenix face eventually because he's a really good face.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, that whole thing that happened on social media 2 days later of Phoenix had to give up his win to Penta because he fucking injured him. Like, ooh, that's just planting a seed that's going to grow into a wonderful oak tree in the next couple months. I can see it.
Oh, yeah. But also, like, hold on. The chop off was fucking great because it was very much like, hey, no, we're brothers. We don't have to fucking fight to the death to figure out who's better. We're just gonna fucking do this. Fuck you.
Mm-hmm. And then Kenny, if this was WWE, we'd say that Kenny buried Sonny Kiss.
I mean, to an extent, like it makes Kenny just look fucking huge.
Yeah, like
he can just do that.
It was one of the most wonderful artistic wrestling things I've also seen that made me love Kenny Omega even more than I already did, but also made me feel so bad for Sonny Kiss because this wasn't even supposed to be fucking Sonny Kiss's match. Joey Janela came into contact with somebody who had COVID, so they had to swap them, which makes perfect sense. They're a tag team. You can swap one out for the other, and it feels like just kind of a friendship thing. But then Kenny has this huge fucking extravagant entrance that starts with like this epic rumbling music and all this footage of Japan while Justin Roberts is listing off like every accolade you can possibly fucking imagine. And then it just goes to this sick ass club beat while two of the Jag cheerleaders come out in these like really unique looking swimsuits that everybody said were bikinis but were clearly one pieces with an open front. Ollie Davis, you fucking hack. And they've got brooms, and they're literally cleaning out the heel side of the entrance for him. Like, just saying, yeah, Kenny's still saying he's a face, but he's headed that direction. And then he comes out, and Battle Cry hits, and it's like the most epic that song has ever felt. And then
he does two moves, pins him while looking the most bored he has ever looked, and then when he wins the match, he holds up Sonny Kiss's hands like, look at this guy, he put on a fucking shirt, Kenny.
Mm-hmm. And like they knew what they were doing here because as soon as that free count happened, they cut to a fan holding a sign that said "The Cleaner Lives."
It makes me excited to see next week because goddamn, Penta versus Kenny.
Yeah. Like, that's what I predicted, and we didn't get it, and I was like, okay, that might be fun. Phoenix versus Kenny might be fun. And then they're like, psych, bitch, here's what you wanted in the first place. And I'm like, oh, this is better, and it happened in a much more interesting way.
It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be interesting. But that was the tournament. We also then had two promos that I want to talk about, the Mox and the Kingston promo, because fuck, dude.
That was good shit.
So good, because basically Eddie Kingston's going like, nah, man, you fucking left us. You went to the fucking WWE. Fuck you, you entertainer. And Moxley's going like, bro, I needed the money. You know that as well as anybody else.
Also, I hated it there, and I haven't changed. You've changed.
You've become bitter. You've become an asshole. Fuck you. I want my friend back. That was a fucking line.
And then Eddie comes back with, you think I don't know that? I know I'm a fucking asshole. I fucking hate myself, but I have to be an asshole to survive in this industry anymore. And it's like, oh no, I feel for both of them. This is going to be a face versus face match.
I just want them on their knees, battered and bruised, just punch, just like taking everything they have out on each other, because goddamn, there's also elements of like Mox can see some of himself in Kingston because he's doing everything he did. He did everything he could to like make it farther in life. So he had the money so he could have it, and he compromised himself to do it. And he hates himself for that. And Kingston sees himself in Mox because fuck, he just took a big contract with AEW. Who is he? How is he any better?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's that kind of mindset, and it's so good.
Also, like, if the Elite weren't in the middle of imploding, I would really want to see the family versus the Elite, because watching those promos from Dark, it feels like a negative universe version of the Elite.
Like, there's so much good shit going on there. And note, all of this storyline happened because they botched Eddie Kingston being eliminated from a battle royale.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so good.
Also, can we acknowledge how amazing those match graphics for Full Gear are, with like the gears making face tats for everybody and making them seem like 10 times more badass, which is something I never thought I'd say about face tats.
Because it makes them feel like they're part of this grand, overcompassing machine. So good, so good.
But before we get to the other big thing, I think we need to go over a couple side things. So this is probably the first time I've ever agreed with Wrestle Talk that the women's match felt a little token.
Yeah.
I mean, Kylan King basically just got squashed by Britt Baker, so they could say, like, oh, Britt Baker's getting up in the rankings. Hikaru Shida better watch out. And I'm like, yeah, but where the fuck is Hikaru? I mean, I know from her Instagram she's in the audience, but you're not showing her at all right now. What the hell?
Feels like it's a problem I can see, and it's definitely a problem that they put themselves in. Of they didn't have women because of COVID. Mm-hmm. They couldn't get their main women roster up and about.
The Alien is on the shelf, the French lady is stuck in France, and the Joshis are stuck in Japan, except for the one that moved to Florida right before the pandemic.
Right. And so they went, okay, in the meantime, we'll try and keep some of it spinning. It's not going to be great, but we're going to try. It's going to be a little bit. Mm-hmm. And we're going to focus on some bigger singles and tag matches and build up stories there. So not necessarily that it's less noticeable, that we have the content to fill out the show. So we're going to do that because we have the people for that. And now that they've done that, they have all these storylines that are in the middle of going on, are still being worked on because they like to work slow when building a story, which good.
I mean, Kenny's story has technically been going on the same path since Double or Nothing. The first Double or Nothing.
But now that they have all these stories in the men's division that they have to deal with, they can't put them off, because that's the AEW promise, is like storylines are going to matter. Wins and losses matter. Things like this matter. That they can't fit women's division stuff in. And now that they kind of have a little bit more leeway on it, they don't have the room, because it's like, shit, we've done so much. We're full up here, and we got to get through some of this so we can just like get through it.
And I mean, they keep talking about like that second TNT show is gonna start soonish. Like it's supposed to start before the end of the year. I don't think it actually will because of COVID, but they keep saying it will. And if I were to make one request for that show's format, I would say just make it the inverse of Dynamite. Make the women the main focus of that show.
Yeah. Like they tried so many different little things to keep the women's division up and running. It's like, oh, let's give Ixwell a good couple of angles. Let's give Hikaru Shida a couple of angles. Let's bring in some NWA. And people were going like, oh, but the NWA thing was like a quick hot shot thing. And it's like, yeah, it was, because that's all they can afford to do with the time they have.
And I mean, who cares? It got a lot of people way more excited about Hikaru and Thunder Rosa than they had been in months.
I'm not saying that this isn't a negative thing. It is. It's bad that they don't have room for the women's division, but it's like a damned if you did, damned if you didn't kind of situation.
It's a situation that sucks rather than it's a fuck you for doing it this way.
Yeah. And I have a feeling like after Full Gear, once a lot of these storylines are kind of done, we'll probably get a lot more women's division stuff.
Fingers crossed, dude.
Because there's a lot of stories going on in there that are going to be either wrapping up or getting into a new chapter, meaning that they can be put on the back burner a little bit. So the Kenny going heel, going for the title, that can be put on the back burner for a little bit because, hey, he's the number one contender now. All's good there. The Kingston Mox feud can be put to rest there. I'm trying to think of other things that are going on. The Bucks and FTR storyline that's been going on can be put pinned there, essentially.
I think let's just talk about that right now, because like I think we're headed for one of two things. Either the Bucks finally become the tag champs at Full Gear, and then right after that, Kenny finally becomes the world champ, or the Bucks are gonna crash and fail so hard, and they're gonna go into their emo phase, and then Kenny's gonna be on top, and it's gonna like propel their emo phase even harder.
I don't want FTR to win because it's always been like that back and forth. It's like the Bucks have always been seen as like the better team. You know what I'm saying? In the internet wrestling community, that's always been kind of the vibe. But to have them lose would do several things. It shows that the Bucks are willing to put people over in their own company. They've shown that already with Private Party, but like doing that to FTR, WWE darlings essentially, and like this big marquee match that they could have put themselves over. They didn't. That'd be infinitely fascinating.
I think I definitely agree with you, but I also think that what the average fan wants is for this to be the Bucks' crowning moment finally. Because like their stories
that in front of a crowd.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but like their story so far in AEW has been them struggling to get to where they thought they were going to be and like constantly getting disappointed. And on BTE for the last like month or so, they've been just getting more and more frustrated with themselves and Hangman and just their whole situation in general. And I feel like that's coming to a head here. And that head, like I said, is going to go one of two ways. Either like finally reaching the mountaintop or falling all the way back down to the foothills.
Here's what I would like to see. Fantasy booking minor thing. Kenny wins. Kenny wins his title. Fucking great. The Bucks lose at Full Gear. They lose hard. They lose definitively in the middle of the ring, and the FTR does not cheat.
Dude, they just get squashed.
Not squashed. They have a competitive match. Like, it's a back and forth. It could go either way. But FTR wins. They're the better team. And the Bucks are fucking pissed, despondent. They're broken. And they basically go to Kenny and go like, this fucking sucks. And he goes like, guys, we just need to be like how we were in Japan, man. And they start acting like his fucking bodyguards. And whenever Kenny doesn't want to deal with a person, hey, have you met the Bucks? Super kick. Like they're his hit squad.
Hell yeah. That would just be redoing their Bullet Club, which I'm fine with.
So, like recontextualizes it as like it's not necessarily like we're being disrespected and a Japanese company respect us. It's we're fucking pissed. Fuck you.
This was supposed to be our company.
But it also it creates a heel authority figure without creating a heel authority figure.
Mm-hmm.
because the authority figure is still
No,
Tony
no,
Khan.
no. It's not a heel authority figure. It's a reign of terror.
Oh yeah, because then hey, no, yeah, of course you can have a match against Kenny. You just also have to find a tag team partner and fight against the Bucks. And that's how you bring in Hangman for the title. He has to go against all of the elite in order to justify him being a good wrestler.
The only question I have is where does Cody fall into all this? Because he's still saying he's a face. Like, are we making him a delusional heel? Or is he just going to keep, like, staying outside that bubble in order to do his own stories?
I think a little bit of the outside bubble, but like I would have it be like Kenny goes up to Cody and goes like, "Hey, where are you in this situation?" And he goes like, "This is a you versus him situation. I don't want to get involved because I care about both of you."
You know what would be like a great setup for that story as well? Kenny goes to Cody and offers him a title shot. Says, you said you would never challenge again. That doesn't mean you can't be offered a shot at the title. And Cody's just like, dude, I fought you twice and lost twice in other companies. Why are you offering me this pity loss?
Like there's so many little elements that you can do with it, and it's interesting. Especially if you have like not just the Bucks, but you also have a crew of like Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah,
Maybe even Riho.
Dude, heel Riho would make my fucking life.
And that's the elite. And like Cody goes like, "Wait, what are you talking about? This isn't the elite. Where's my voice?" And they go like, "Dude, go have your nightmare somewhere else." No. Go live your dream somewhere else.
Oh! Yes. And all of this is much more interesting to think about than the fucking boring ass filler ass Team Taz promo that happened this week.
It was fine.
Yeah, but like the most notable thing about it was Brian Cage finally got to talk for himself on Dynamite.
Yeah, it was okay.
Uh-huh.
The four-way tag team match was pretty good.
Yeah, I loved seeing John Silver run wild. Like that was totally unexpected, and I'm like, oh no, they definitely realize how over he's getting from BTE, and they're setting him and Reynolds up for an actual push.
Yeah, and that's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have to talk about the segment.
The segment that made me, for the first time in my life, go, you know what? I'm gonna make a tweet just so I could try and bait MJF into yelling at me. It didn't happen,
Okay.
but I made that tweet.
Real quick, positive or negative?
Negative in a joking sort of way. Here, I'll just fucking grab it and link it in the chat.
Your opinion on the segment.
Yeah, it was fine. Like, I didn't fall in love with it, but I also didn't despise it like a lot of people, like Jim Cornette did.
Oh, dude, you could hear Jim Cornette.
I could hear Jim Cornette having an aneurysm from all the way in my state, which is like 5 states away from him.
Okay, so the segment in question is Le Dena d'Arbaniel.
There's my tweet, by the way.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Thank you.
Chris Jericho and MJF have a nice steak dinner. They both order it well done at first because they're fucking assholes, and that's not how you fucking eat a steak.
Medium well.
Medium rare.
I'm a medium well guy.
I'm rare.
Okay. Well, that's fine. We don't have to have a pissing contest like they did and just keep going down the rack until Jericho orders his steak blue.
Which basically is like raw.
Yeah.
I think a more accurate way of doing it would be like it's on the heat for like psh, psh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So they do that and they're waiting for their steak and they start having this whole back and forth, and then you hear music and then you hear singing and it's a goddamn musical number.
It's a fucking Rat Pack song, dude.
It's still a musical number, and like MJF fucking sings Jericho out of the fucking room
because MJF is an actual classically trained singer, which is a thing I discovered after this.
Because he was in the choir.
Mm-hmm.
You just have Chris Jericho straining with his rock voice.
Uh-huh. Just like throwing out references to faces and beating them up. And like That's another funny thing with this segment is like they were going to contact Frank Sinatra's estate to get permission to use the song, and then their lawyers double checked it before they did, and they were like, "No, with all the references to other people in the company, you've changed it enough that it now falls under parody law."
You have reached the certain percentile of parody.
Mm-hmm.
I love this segment because it doesn't feel like this is a natural thing that's happening. It feels like Chris Jericho, the character, and MJF, the character, came together and went, hey, let's just do something to pop ourselves and make us ourselves happy and also just piss off all the people.
Mm-hmm. Because it's two cocky heels who think they're the best and everything they do is the best, singing about why they're the best, and then being together will be the best thing ever.
It's not presented as like this makes them badasses. It's presented as if these are a couple of goofs.
Mm-hmm. After Jericho just spent like 2 minutes talking down to MJF about how he's a rude little shit.
Like, that's the thing people don't like. A lot of old head wrestling fans need to understand. There is a new meta kayfabe. Not everything presented on screen is meant to be 100% kayfabe. Sometimes it is an act within an act like this, where it's purposefully designed to be, no, these guys are kind of having a joke at your expense.
Mm-hmm.
Like BTE. BTE is kind of kayfabe, but is also, here's a skit show with all the wrestlers.
Yeah, but no, I enjoyed this segment a fair bit. I was thrown off a bit by the fact that some of the lip syncing was pretty off, but like they probably shot this in an afternoon, so I can't blame them. But I thought it was as well executed as it possibly could be, and like it's a fine idea, especially for these two characters. I like other than the fact that this took place on a wrestling show, I don't see why there needed to be as much discussion of this as there has been online for the last week.
Yeah, no, it's all because it's a wrestling show, and
What? Singing and dancing in my fake fighting show? That doesn't make sense.
And like, here's the thing. I don't think this should ever happen again. It's one and done. We're good.
No, but like this is also because this is so different than anything else. This is a segment that's going to be talked about for decades to come.
Oh, yeah. Oh, very much so. This is the new Stone Cold coming with a beer truck.
Yeah.
Because it's also like, again, you couldn't put Orange Cassidy in here. You couldn't put the Bucks. You couldn't put Kenny. It had to be Chris Jericho and MJF.
It's good.
Yeah, that was wrestling.
And like, I can't wait for next week when they do a town hall meeting.
Oh boy, that's gonna be fucking fuck.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't mention it during when we were talking about the movie. Dude, MJF took his catchphrase from fucking Dodgeball.
Yes! Oh my god, I meant to talk about that too! I'm like, oh my god. And he's old enough that he probably saw that movie as a kid.
Oh, very much so.
Cody, for reference, MJF's catchphrase is "I'm better than you, and you know it," and that's something that Ben Stiller's character says to Vince Vaughn's character in the movie.
That's the Global Gym catchphrase.
Yeah, we're better than you, and you know it.
Because MJF's whole thing is like he's a spoiled rich guy with muscles,
who's also a little bit of a sociopath.
Yep. But hey, Cody, you're talking again, so why don't you talk about whatever the hell your vibe is this week?
Oh, right now I got flavor blasted cheesy piece of goldfish. They're pretty good.
Hell yeah, I love those. Is that the whole thing?
No, I'm trying to think of what it really could be, because I got some Black Series figures. I got Double Dealer, both of which are all right.
I was gonna say, Double Dealer looks like he's either the best thing ever or a total hot mess. How is he?
It's very good. I like everything that he could do. I bought Snapdragon or whatever, and I'm not a fan of that figure.
Really?
And yeah, and then I got Double Dealer, and like, because Snapdragon felt too Titan's Return, Double Dealer feels like if Titan's Return was done in the Siege format.
See, so. I liked Snapdragon for how Titan's Return he is. He felt like a throwback to me in like a oh, I forgot what this engineering is like. It's not as bad as I remember. It's actually kind of neat.
I don't know. Like once they gave me all the articulation like as a standard for like it's it's the feet. It's the ankle rockers and everything.
Ah.
I cannot stand, and like it hurts. I cannot stand figures not having them.
So
'Cause
you're a
they also
spoiled
cannot
TFW poster now.
Well, no, it's something I always wanted because when a figure did have it, I was like, perfect. It could stand up by itself. It could do all this shit. And then when it couldn't do it, like that's one of my least favorite things about the Grimlock we got from Power of the Primes is that like his feet were just so fucking massive because they all are supposed to be that he could only stand one way and that's it.
Does
And
Studio
some of these
Series Grimlock look like he has ankle lock? No,
They
does
all
he?
do. They
Okay,
all do. Every
'cause
single one of them has the same, if not better. I think they all have wrists.
Wow.
But I don't know. I also picked up quite a few Star Wars Black Series figures. The
I saw you
best of
posted.
which is hands down the Incinerator Trooper. I knew I was gonna like that trooper because it came from a very special part in my heart that I always wanted a toy of. And then it just so happens to be like one of the best Black Series figures that I've put my hands on.
Because you posted pictures on my server, the only thing that messes me up a little bit is the red just feels weird on the helmet. It feels weirdly placed. I know it's the design of the character, but like just how much red there is on the bottom just feels like he just ate a lot of berries.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. I get that. But I don't think he's the only stormtrooper that has like a design like that, or clone trooper for that matter.
Yeah, I think that's why they did that, was to kind of differentiate him from the other troopers with red on them.
I'm not saying it's bad. It's just that that's like my first go-to thought is like, oh, he's like that rabbit who ate a strawberry.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't think we ever got a toy of him way back when. But I'm glad to get a toy of him. Let me check real quick. Yeah, let me just Google how 2008. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a while, been a while that I wanted that. I think probably my biggest vibe is gonna be I rewatched Cars 3 with my friend Cole, who had
Whoa.
not seen it at all. And I, being the former redneck, maybe I'm definitely person that I am, whenever Cars came out, it was made for me. It was literally made for me, for people just like me. No, and like then Cars 2 is, whatever. It's fine. People say it's the worst Pixar movie. It's definitely not a good sequel. Cars 3 is the literal perfect sequel to Cars 1, and I think it's better.
Okay. I mean,
but it doesn't have Maynard going through a James Bond movie.
Yeah, but like it literally is a return to form, but it does more to like it does so much because like me and Cole know a lot about the history of NASCAR and like racing in general, and like I grew up knowing far more than what I was supposed to just because I used to want to be like a pit crew chief or just like a pit crew worker in general. I wanted to be an ASC certified mechanic. And I used to look at like places like Tulsa Welding School or like I forget what the NASCAR Academy was called, but they have several campuses, and it's not too hard to get in. You build like roadsters and shit like that in those campuses. It's fucking awesome. But this movie does so much. If you're a NASCAR fan, like I don't even know if it's a good movie. Like it's got to be a good movie by itself. Like a good cohesive movie, start to finish. But it's so hard for me to remove everything that I know because like everything they did in this movie is 100% like a love letter to people who are fans of racing. Because like they literally have a representation for like Wendell Scott, the first female racer, and a couple of other just like famous like deep cut historical figures in racing. They talk about moonshine. They talk about like the beach races and stuff like that. It's a good watch. If you know racing, if you like NASCAR, if you ever liked motorsport, or if you like Cole cried, and not at the end. Cole cried in this movie, and I was surprised because like I teared up the first time I watched it. But
I mean, that's just super interesting to hear that like somebody feels that way about Cars, because I'm in that demographic that watched the first Cars like a year after it came out, when this is the most bland movie Pixar has ever done, and then never bothered with the series again.
No, see, it was so different for me whenever that movie came out. I mean, I have several friends, but we're all from the South. My friend Leslie like still collects like the die-cast cars, the Hot Wheel scale cars. I mean, shit, I don't know if chevrons are like a southern thing or if it's everywhere, but the Chevron gas stations when I was super young used to sell like cars with human faces, and as you'd roll them, their eyes would move back and forth. They were similar to the Hess station cars. Which I have. Does Hess even exist anymore?
I think
Yeah,
they
I
still have
see
some.
them.
Bro, I haven't seen a Hess in ever.
There's one on the way towards St. Augustine, I think.
There was one near my house when I lived in Naples, and there's one here in like a city over that I sometimes see when I have to go up there.
But anyways, I've always loved cars like that. But like that's the thing, because like I talked to my friend Bats about this, and I talked to a couple other people who are like come from 1,000% different demographic. Like they're from like Bats is from Thailand originally and then came over. So like they grew up with like some cartoons, but like they definitely didn't grow up being a fucking fan of NASCAR. And as removed as it could be to like no vehicles in this day and age, compared to like it's like twice removed to be a fan of fucking NASCAR, which is, in my opinion, one of the lesser racing sports. Not to knock
It
it.
is. It's less respected mainly because it is a heavy focus on circuit courses and not road courses.
And I
Yeah,
mean, also there was the constant barrage of jokes in the early 2000s of like that sport is so riveting. Oh, they're making a left turn.
yeah.
I
But
mean,
like
the
that's
whole
the thing.
sport is
It's
about
a
position.
Yeah, I mean now it's very different. That's another thing that the Cars movie gets very right. They talk. See, it's shit that literally doesn't matter to like anybody who doesn't fucking know about any. Because like they get the details of like the different rules in racing in NASCAR specifically from beginning to end, and like up until like modernized NASCAR racing, where it's like it used to be a lot like Formula One, where it was about who could build the better car within the limitations and squeeze every little bit of horsepower and speed out of the engine that you're given. And now it's everyone is locked in the same exact thing. So it has nothing to do with what car is better, even though they all have different badging. It's about drafting and just endurance, which, in my
Talent of the
opinion,
racer.
yeah, that's a little bit more boring now.
Yeah,
Back
you're
in the
not gonna
day,
get a. You're not gonna get a fucking. What's the car with the giant ass wing?
uh, that's Richard Petty's.
Yeah, Superbirds. That's what I was trying to think of.
Um,
You're not gonna get another Superbird in NASCAR.
No, and like that's the thing, man. Like literally, I can't really see this this movie being for anybody else but people who grew up in demographic.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, yeah,
like even I, who's not like, I'm into motorsport, I'm into cars, but like not to the extent you are. And I have a connection with NASCAR because my grandfather was a mechanic in some of the earliest when it became an official organization.
And I mean, like, it's always interesting for me to hear people talk about that kind of shit and like why they're into it. I'm interested in anybody being passionate about anything, but like, I guess I can't connect with that because much like American football, cars are just one of those things that's supposed to be universal, but never came to me. Like, I'm literally that guy who goes, as long as it has four wheels and engine, runs, and can keep the climate temperate, I'm fine.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
like,
that's fine. Um,
and I was
it,
always much more about like the aesthetic of a car than the internals. It's only recently that I've gotten interested in actual mechanical, like the engines and stuff.
I think Donut meeting so many new,
Oh yeah. No,
which I'm
it's
happy to
because
see.
of Donut. It is because of Donut.
Yeah, no, but like Donut has done such a good job of just fucking just God, dude. Everything that Donut does that just presents. I think like Donut's being responsible for like so much more. They're getting people into shit that like people are talking about rally racing again. Not that it really ever died and shit like that. You know, not to like harp on Donut for too long here. It's
Yeah,
just,
but Rally never really took off in America. It had its bits and moments, but Rally's always been much more of a European sport.
but I remember as a kid playing the games and it being a big fucking deal back then. And like a little window of time, I was just like, "Holy shit, it's rally racing! Holy fuck!" Like, um,
But like, no, Money Pit, the donut show Money Pit made me go like, oh, I can actually do this. This is a thing I can do. Okay,
yeah.
that's the thing I want to do one day. I want to get a car. I want to look up the forums, see the tutorials, and I want to fucking build a nice Mustang or whatever.
But no, anyways, I'm I'm now forever interested since I've rewatched it recently. Because, like, I know my opinion within some of my friend groups when it comes to tends to be a little bit different, or I might appreciate something a little bit more. Sometimes I like something or I dislike something. But I know I have a lot of animating friends who judge, like, anything Pixar, anything like that, with like a fucking razor edge. They look because they tear apart the style and everything like that. They're not being dicks; they're just noticing what they notice. And I noticed that shit too. I just care a little bit less about it, just because I was gonna be an anime, but I went the complete opposite. I talked about, but so now I just want to know. I'm like, is this a good movie, or is this just like a literal country song to my country heart? Like, so I'm always interested in it. But other than that, I think it might
I
still be a
mean,
good
you could
movie.
always put it on the list
It is.
and I'll okay. I was gonna say I'll have to watch it. And I suppose given how I've just spoken about my disinterest in cars, that'll probably be the ultimate test of whether it's a good movie or not.
Here's the thing: the more you're gonna hang out with the both of us, the more you're gonna get into motor vehicles.
Yeah, no, I mean like you've already got me on like r/weird wheels and watching tons of regular cars videos. Like I'm still working my way through their library.
Regular cars. That shit is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Because one of my favorite things about that YouTube channel is like they talk about fun factor with like everything just a little bit, and like some of this like crazy obscure shit. Like one of my favorite episodes they did was on the customized like van truck.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's again that's something that I saw a lot in Putnam County growing up. Because, bro, man, there's some shit that you'd see in the early 2000s where you're like, how'd you get it out here, man? How you doing? How you not dead?
Oh, you still see some of those every once in a while.
Oh yeah, like 2 years ago, I was shopping for cars on Craigslist, and I found a motherfucker who had welded their own vehicle together, and it ran on propane. It was a fever dream of a fucking post because they're like the only exceptions to buying this vehicle is you have to agree to bring it back to me regularly so I can recharge it with propane so it could like I was like, who the fuck's gonna buy this? Like I'm like, bro, no one will ever steal it because it has like a fucking like cockpit for just starting the thing. Like it's got so many switches and bullshit you gotta like flip. Like runs on propane, bro. Are you kidding? Like I saw duct
Okay.
tape on the rail. Like anyways.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're getting a little off topic here, and we're like an hour and a half into this episode now, which I should just say, like, I fucking apologize for how long these episodes are getting. We're working on a solution to that that's probably gonna be just fucking bring back MMWP so there isn't a half hour of me and Chris rambling about wrestling while Cody twiddles his thumbs. So don't worry. The fucking hour 40-minute episodes will be a thing of the past soon, hopefully, probably, maybe, I don't know. It's mainly Chris that's working on that. I'm just making promises I can't keep.
One thing you could probably do, if you're blasting it out there right now, we could just change when we do. You could just do the wrestling after, like, I leave, y'all stay.
I mean, we're
We already have
working.
a solution brewing up, and we'll tell you after the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We've got something similar to that, but not quite the same. Fucking, you know what? I'll just say it. Go to the Modular Summit if you want to know about that. We're gonna that'll be a thing we'll talk about at the Modular Summit. We may have already announced the thing where we're gonna make that announcement, even. So, fucking. Should I just go to my vibe now? Okay.
Yes.
So I've not had a lot of time for media outside of shit for shit we're talking about this week, and it's probably gonna stay that week until after the summit. Like I've just been so fucking busy, and I've got to stay so fucking busy in order to pull this thing off pretty much through the end of the year, because a lot of the content we're gonna shoot at the summit, I'm probably gonna end up editing. And fucking I did watch one thing this week, though, because it's October, and in my opinion, it should be required by law that during October you have to watch a Scooby-Doo related thing. So I decided, you know what? Let's watch a movie from my childhood that I haven't seen in at least 10 years. So I rewatched Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, which happens to also be a comedy from 2004. Did not realize that until I downloaded the torrent. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think that movie really holds up.
It holds up better than the first one, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the first one mostly suffers from trying to change too much and getting fucked over in the editing room. But, like, this movie is literally just, no, we're just doing a big budget episode. This is just a big budget episode. And it works in that way because there's so much fun fan service in that and actually, like, propelling characters' arcs. Like, the main arc of that movie is Scooby and Shaggy going, man, we're the screw ups. We keep messing up everything. We've gotta like get our shit together. And then they figure out by the end of it, like, no, being screw ups is how we end up solving the case all the time. Us being screw ups is important. And then there's all the fan service with all the old monsters coming back and looking amazing. Like, I legitimately love the Black Knight in this movie. He's basically just Goldar from Power Rangers, but he's kind of wonderful in that. And they make some of the monsters legitimately terrifying. Like, I remember seeing this movie as a kid and thinking the fact that the 10,000 volt ghost was just a giant electricity man was the most intimidating thing ever. And like, oh, Captain Cutler could just be hiding beneath the surface of a lake at any time was pants to be darkened level stuff. I think I was like maybe 10 or 11 years old when I first saw this. And like, the Velma trying to be more sexy for a guy she likes who's clearly like just as nerdy as she is, that can maybe come off as a little condescending nowadays, but I think it plays fine, especially considering that they end up in a no, you're perfect just the way you are. He likes you because you're a nerd kind of thing. I think that's a fine message to show to kids and probably should still work. But I don't know the exact politics of feminism these days. And then like there's just some great aesthetic stuff in this because like the casting isn't exactly perfect, but everybody fits into the roles naturally. I mean, Matthew Lillard is so perfect as Shaggy that they literally made him the voice of Shaggy after these movies in everything. And like I'm sorry?
I was gonna say, man, you're insulting the casting of this movie, dude. That's a hot take, dude.
I mean, like, I'm saying in comparison to the cartoon counterparts, they don't all exactly look the part, but they fall into the role so well, especially in this movie, that I kind of just found myself switching into a brain mode of like, no, this is great. This is perfect. Like, this isn't exactly what I think of when I think of Fred nowadays, but it's still a perfectly fine and enjoyable version of him. Like, I'm more used to the modern version of Fred from like Mystery Incorporated now, but this Fred is still a great Fred. And like, I don't know. I've never been too into Sarah Michelle Gellar as Daphne, but it works way better than I remember it working. Especially because in this movie, they're not as overt with the, oh, look, we have Sarah Michelle Gellar, so we're going to make Daphne a badass. Like, it's a much more integrated thing into the plot instead of a glaring, look at this actress kind of thing. And also, I just love the music choices in this film. It's all very of the time music, but it's such a wonderful time capsule because of that. Like, I was legitimately shocked there was no Smash Mouth on this soundtrack because everything else is such that like 2000s Gen Xer kind of ironic, but also with a smile music, and it's all great. And there's also like some remixes of 60s songs. The movie literally ends with them dancing to "I'd like to thank you for letting me be myself again," which is bizarre but okay. Like the only knock I could really have against this movie is that there's that whole scene where Scooby and Shaggy are drinking the potions and they're turning into different versions of themselves. And like them turning into women is kind of played for comedy, but it's also like there for 5 seconds. So not the worst thing in the world. Also, if I were ever to dress up for Halloween again, which I don't knock people my age doing it. It's just not for me. But if I were ever to do it again, I would dress as the main bad guy from this movie because that costume is fucking amazing. But yeah,
This is a female reporter.
I mean the costume
Scrappy-Doo?
that's the first one. And I mean like the chrome head guy in a like suit that she is wearing. But yes,
I will say that, man. Unfortunately,
really.
they did Scoob the movie, which
Hmm.
is good. If you like Hanna-Barbera or Barbera or whatever, if you like anything from that, get ready for all of that in this in Scoob. But they got Fred Armisen doing the voice. I think it's Fred Armisen. Yeah, it's Fred Armisen
That's a
doing
pick.
doing the voice, and it's like I could kind of get it, but bro, it is not Shaggy. Like Matthew Lillard
She Lillard
was
come back to be
Shaggy.
Shaggy for some of the direct-to-DVD movies that just came out.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing is he's been Shaggy in everything after this except Scoob. Like I think they recast everybody but Scooby in that movie because fucking like, which is kind of funny about the live action movies. They didn't get this, but like the only person who can really play Scooby is Frank Welker. Frank Welker will be playing Scooby from Beyond the Grave. I guarantee it.
They probably have like several things pre-recorded for him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the Space Coop design, Scooby-Doo 2 Monster. I haven't seen this in forever,
Yeah.
but I've seen like everything Scooby-Doo a ridiculous amount of time. And bro, they nailed the Space Coop. That's my favorite Scooby-Doo. It's like my favorite original series episode. I fucking love the Space Coop. Jesus Christ.
Some of the classic Scooby designs are just fantastic.
Yeah. There's a whole YouTube video about it, in fact.
Yeah, it's one of the best ones.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, the monster designs in that are great. I love the whole dichotomy of like the suits in that opening scene at the museum all look terrible, but then they get revived into CGI / practical effects creatures, and they look so badass. Like legitimately, the zombie is mostly played for laughs, but it's like one of the best practical suits I've seen in a while.
Matthew Lillard was Shaggy in Return to Zombie Island in 2019. Shaggy
did a
in
Return to
Titans.
Zombie Island?
Yeah.
They did, and it's terrible.
Shaggy Rogers in Teen Titans Go 2019. Shaggy in Robot Chicken. Shaggy in Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo. And Shaggy in Scooby-Doo and Guess Who.
But yeah, no, Matthew Lillard is great. Like we could just do a whole podcast about what a wonderful human being Matthew Lillard is, because he embraced the fucking Shaggy being overpowered meme, and there's that delightful video of him comforting a scared little girl at a con.
He was also in Hackers.
Yes. But I think that's all the Scooby-Doo talk we can have for one podcast. So Chris, what you got going on this week?
Well, we're still going to talk about cartoons because goddamn, my childhood fucking came back for one single episode.
Oh,
Darkwing Duck.
Oh,
what?
Oh, I already know. Wait, hold on. First,
did they make him canon on DuckTales?
question, Chris.
Canon on DuckTales, but we'll get to that.
Has the new episodes come out? Because I haven't seen it yet.
They're combined into one video uploaded on Disney XD's channel. The whole special is.
Is that what you're going to talk about?
Yeah.
I
can be vague. I can be vague.
Oh my god. I already know a little bit. I really don't want to know anymore. Fuck, dude. Oh my god. I sent you that video like last week or something like that because I knew you'd be excited and I was excited. Are you current? I'm sorry. I'm not
current on DuckTales, but I basically.
You're not current on DuckTales and you fucking watch that?
Dude, you want to know the things I've watched on DuckTales? The first appearance of Darkwing Duck as a TV show, the episode where they made Darkwing Duck canon with the whole thing with Negaduck, and this. I have only watched the things involving Darkwing Duck.
Bro, Chris,
I've seen
please. I'm on DuckTales and you fucking watch that?
Dude, you want to know the things I've watched on DuckTales? The first appearance of Darkwing Duck as a TV show, the episode where they made Darkwing Duck canon with the whole thing with Negaduck, and this. I have only watched the things involving Darkwing Duck.
Bro, Chris,
seen the
please.
I've seen the
Please, Chris. I'll give you my Disney Plus login, dude. Watch
calm the fuck
DuckTales.
down. Let him talk.
So because first and foremost, I'm a Darkwing Duck guy. That's who I am. It's just part of me. Okay, so real quick, DuckTales is great. I liked what I've seen. I've seen the first episode of DuckTales. So,
Same.
They've basically been hinting at basically everything in the Disney afternoon canon is being canon. And basically the way they did Darkwing Duck is in the show, there is a show called Darkwing Duck that Launchpad is a big fan of. Eventually they do a big movie reboot and recasted Darkwing Duck as a new actor called Drake Mallard. And they do a whole big thing with the classic voice of Darkwing Duck being the old actor and him going crazy, and it's great. And this is basically a couple bit later, and the new Darkwing Duck, Drake Mallard, is in St. Canard trying to solve crime. And then DuckTale Adventure happens, and he has to step up and be a hero, and it's great.
Okay. I mean, I know very.
In it.
Sorry.
Goslin is in it. Taurus Bulba. Fucking in the previews for it, they've shown Quackerjack, the Liquidator, Bushroot,
Oh my god,
and Megavolt.
I didn't even know. Oh,
dude! And here's the thing: other than Bushroot, they did a really cool thing with Bushroot. They're exactly as you remember them. Because I think the thing with Bushroot is I'm not sure what happened to the actor. I have a feeling it was something with the actor. Because in the whole thing, he was like a silent monster. And you're going like, okay, that's not Bushroot because Bushroot's a neurotic nutcase, you know. And my first thought was, oh no, did the actor die? And they didn't want to recast him for the special.
Are you saying this slowly because you're trying to find out what happened as you're speaking?
Yes, Yep. Yeah, he died.
Well, R.I.P.
He died 2017. He was the voice of Bushroot.
man, dude, the level of respect that show plays to Disney Saturday mornings is ungodly. You're doing a disservice to yourself if you do not watch the rest of it before midnight of next day.
Oh yeah, no, it's because hold on, let's see if I can find it. Nope, there's no screenshots yet, but like in the classic fucking Darkwing show, Bushroot's basically like Poison Ivy kind of thing. But in this, he's like fucking creepy as hell. Okay, here's just a clip of Bushroot going up against the triplets, and it's great. But no, it is a Darkwing Duck episode. That's what it is. It's Darkwing Duck. I want them to just make Darkwing Duck now. That's all they need to do. I just need more Daring Duck of Mystery.
Now, see, I think I love Darkwing Duck as much as you do. You might have me beat just a little bit, but I do love it more. But being someone who watched like DuckTales, like start to finish in canonical order, continuously surprised, I was like, oh my god, I hope they do something. Oh my god, and then like they did it, and I was upset, and then the way they finished it, it negated it. Like you could ask Delta, like my response to this, I was like so surprised. I was like, I can't be mad. What the fuck? Like, and now the thing I'm left wanting, because like my secret love in like old school Disney stuff is the fucking Mighty Ducks cartoon, and I want that so bad in this universe.
I mean, they show the Mighty Duck hockey mask once.
I know.
Such disparate like Disney Saturday morning interest amongst this group, because my exposure to Disney Saturday morning is fucking reruns of Goof Troop and the Buzz Lightyear show on Toon Disney when I was pretty young.
Here's the thing, they don't Goof Troop.
That's cool.
Goof Troop is part of DuckTales.
Like, it doesn't make me come in my pants like you guys are about Darkwing Duck right now, but I'm happy.
Legit. Okay, so here's the thing. I lived in Germany for 3 to 4 years of my life because father was military. We were on military, like that whole thing. So in the U.S. military base, there was a video rental shop, that kind of thing. I was the only kid who borrowed the Darkwing Duck VHSs. I was the only one. And when we moved, the cashier went, have them. So my Darkwing Duck VHS tapes were because I was the only fucker renting them out week in, week out. Darkwing Duck is integral to like my love of superheroes, like everything. And I know the episodes they were. It was the episode where Goslin and her friend get trapped in all the art in the museum, and the episode where Darkwing Duck gets separated into good and evil halves. Not Negaduck, it's just good and evil halves, and they fight. You know, like Darkwing Duck is genuinely one of my favorite things in the world, and it's such I don't know how to like. There is no me without Darkwing Duck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just to see the respect it gets, because it's not just like, oh, here's some funny side character gag stuff and that we can throw in the background. And no, it's like, no, there's a reason Darkwing Duck is so important to people, and they fucking respect it.
I know.
And like they tie it into other stuff involving DuckTales. So now the current version of DuckTales is integrally like interconnected with the lore of Darkwing Duck, because I haven't been keeping up completely with DuckTales, but I do know like the ongoing storyline is like Fowls being a thing. Fowl comes from Darkwing Duck. Fowl is the evil organization in Darkwing Duck.
Bro, please, with me, because I want to see your reaction. I want to watch DuckTales with you start to new DuckTales.
Dude, let's figure out a way to do it, because
I mean, I would happily join you boys in that adventure, because ever since I watched the pilot right after it came out, I was like, oh, this is cool. I should keep up with this. And then I didn't, and I was like, well, I'll finish it I'll go back to it and watch it all at some point, probably when it's over.
Like, I know they've done other Disney AM fucking references. I know they've done Rescue Rangers. Oh, they did, what was the fucking, like, cat who was a cop? Yeah, they did Gummy Bears. What was the fucking cat who was a goddamn cop?
Not fucking Bonkers.
No, Bonkers is in this special.
What?
Bonkers is in this.
What? Bro, no.
Speaking, it's a cameo joke, but Bonkers is in this.
Oh my god.
Bonkers is in DuckTales, a cop from St. Canard. Also, like, I was watching the Black Nerd. He's a YouTuber, and he was talking about the video, and he said, like, oh yeah, there's this one segment where they're showing a bunch of things, and one of them is like 3 multicolored dogs, and he was like, oh, I remember that from something, but I don't know what. Apparently it was a goddamn pilot special that Disney made in the 80s that never got a TV show, that they decided, fuck it, let's reference it. This is a love letter to Disney television. The only way it can get better is Mighty Ducks and Gargoyles.
I don't think Gargoyles...
You saying Buzz Lightyear Star Command is not good enough to be on this?
That was too Disney.
Here's the thing. I don't know if Gargoyles fits in this universe, because Gargoyles was humans and monsters. And
I wouldn't mind just a reference. Like, you see a skyscraper and on top is Goliath. That's fine.
I mean, does dimension hopping exist in this show?
I know it kind of does.
Let's just say it's answered in the special.
Yeah, I mean, they tease it in, like, some of the... Bro, Tailspin. Tailspin is probably... as much as I love Darkwing Duck, I probably have more of a connection to Tailspin, because I used to watch that religiously every month. Like, we had, like, some sort of... I think that was because my mom... I don't know, my mom used to work for the cable cord shit. But...
You mean other than the fact that the pirate from Tailspin is in DuckTales?
Yeah, no, like, he's there. And oh my god, he's voiced. They brought him back too, dude. The guy, like, oh my god, I don't want to like turn this into like DuckTales Part 2. I think every segment we've had in this specific podcast has been longer than except for like.
Yeah, I was about to say we're coming up on the 2-hour mark here, boys. I mean, it probably isn't that for people listening to this back, because I've been trying to negate the length of podcasts by finally doing what Chris has been telling me to do for years and truncating silence. But
because like at a Comic-Con they showed this, and this is the young sidekick and the little girl from Tailspin, their DuckTales redesign. He looks like fucking Baloo.
I mean, yeah, he always was. He kind of is. That was the weird thing. Because Tailspin is set in the Jungle Book stuff. The King Louie is in Tailspin.
Yeah. I mean, it's Baloo, Tailspin, Shere
Dude.
Khan's in it.
Fucking DuckTales, modern DuckTales did the Three Caballeros.
Fucking Three Caballeros, right? Shit, fuck, I forgot about them. That's like one of my weird favorite like Donald Duck lore things. It's just
Also,
the fact that
there's an episode where Don Cheadle voices.
yeah, there's like this is a love letter to Disney AM, but it's also a love letter to just DuckTales and all that kind of stuff, and a love letter to the Disney comics because they're pulling a lot of stuff from that as well. Fucking Gizmo Duck, so much. It's just so good.
Bro, I'm immediately leaving this podcast, and it better be up. It's not. I'll watch it all.
All right, well then let's go ahead and wrap up so you can do that. Cody, who are you, and where can people find your shit if you want them to?
I am Snowcone83, otherwise known as Never Robot. You search one of those things, and you might find me. If you don't, you're not smart enough to find. I'm just kidding. No,
No, you should have just gone with that. You should have just been a heel.
But yeah, I do all kinds of stuff. If you want to kiss me, ask me first.
Yeah, consent is important. Speaking of consenting to things, Boingo, where can people find your shit if you want them to?
Howdy, my name's Boingo Writer. I make video essays and video editorials on my YouTube channel known as Boingo Writer. A link to that is in the description. You can follow me on Twitter and the Instagram at Boingo_Writer. A link to those are in the description. And if you want, you can come join my Discord server. A link to that's in the description. And I am regularly streaming on Twitch every Saturday night. And I think right now every Tuesday.
Ooh.
I've done it once. And this is me putting it into paper and going like I'm going to try and stream Tuesday nights. So around like 10 to 11 start time, go for an hour, 2 hours, that kind of thing. Come join me there at Boingo Writer.
Okay. Well, I am your modular king of the content ring. I call myself the Vacuuminator, and I call myself the modular king of the content ring because I have been making videos on YouTube for over 7 years now, and I've done a little bit of every genre in that time span. I can't say any of it is actually good, but it's shit I made, and I haven't deleted it yet, so I'm proud of it in one way or another. You can find it all at youtube.com/thevacuuminator. And if you want to keep up with me and what I'm doing, go on Twitter and Instagram at The Vacuuminator. It's spelled VACUUMINATOR, and you can find me. And I do that stuff sometimes, except I'm not tweeting that much right now, mainly because I'm trying to use my Twitter to build some storyline stuff. So I don't know, maybe go there if you're interested in that. But you want to keep up with Modular Media and what we're doing, of course, you can always subscribe to this channel to get the next episode of Analytical Fanboys when it comes out. Don't forget to ring the bell in order to enable notifications. Follow us on Twitter at The Modular Media for regular updates on things that'll be happening with the podcast and the podcast coming out. And join our subreddit, r/modular media, for the same reasons. But that is all for this episode. We will see you in 2 weeks when we will be discussing She Could Fly.